morning, everyone, and welcome to Albany International Airport. The governor has a tight schedule, so we want to get this program going. It's a great honor, Governor, to have you here with us today. I've had the pleasure of working with the governor on so many initiatives, and she's been such a great friend to me and to this airport and to upstate New York. She's passionate about and dedicated to making people's lives better and making it easier for communities to thrive. And that's the essence of what this federal infrastructure bill is all about. It's a generational opportunity to invest in America's aging infrastructure like our airports, to enhance safety, strengthen our communities, and create economic opportunities like well-paying jobs that will improve the lives of families and of individuals. Governor Hochul has called airports the front doors to our state and recognized their critical importance as economic development drivers. The aviation pioneer Billy Mitchell once said that if you would measure the heartbeat of a community, take the pulse of her airport. Governor Hochul, because of your leadership and the efforts of President Biden, Senator Schumer, and leaders like County Executive McCoy and Mayor Sheehan, this airport and the heartbeat of this community just got a lot stronger. Welcome to Albany International.
Good morning, and thank you, Phil. And I am a little bit rushed this morning, but what a great reason to be here in this extraordinary airport. I've been here many times, Phil, as we announced new improvements, new lines for some of the airlines, and just talk about how we can expand services. So thank you for your leadership here. Also, we're joined by Sam Frasina, the Airport Board President, and the great work he does on behalf of the New York State Firefighters Association, and my fabulous partners in local government, Mayor Kathy Hochul and our County Executive Dan McCoy have worked with me so closely on so many projects, and we are very excited to be embarking on a flight right now to leave to go to Washington, D.C. I was invited by President Biden among a select number of governors from states that will be recipients of this funding, a $1.2 trillion generational opportunity to transform infrastructure in America. And I feel like this is long overdue. It has been long overdue. As a young staffer and attorney for Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan, who is on the Infrastructure Committee, we talked about projects like these and investing money earlier so the costs do not continue to rise. And that's why this is so smart. And I want to thank Senator Schumer, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and all the people who stood up to cast the vote that made this happen. And in order to make sure that they know that we're appreciative, I'm going to make sure that they know we're giving credit where credit is due. And it took a lot of negotiations, a lot of involvement from a lot of people, and I want to thank my local partners as well as our federal partners for getting this done. What this means, billions of dollars coming to the state of New York for critical, long overdue infrastructure projects. More than $14 billion for New York roads and bridges, $10.5 billion for our transit systems across the state, $3 billion for clean water, $100 million for continued broadband deployment, something we hear about every single day, and I continue as governor even, not as much as lieutenant governor, but I still travel the state. I know the vulnerabilities when my cell phones drop, and I say, why? So we're going to get that fixed as well as hundreds of millions of dollars for climate resiliency projects across the state. So what this means is we'll have the 21st century infrastructure we deserve, and to make sure that we focus on projects all the way across the state, from the I-81 viaduct project in Syracuse, something that was a relic of days past and has divided the community since the days I was a young student at Syracuse University, all the way to Penn Station, where I declared that commuters deserve a world-class experience when they visit, as well as our visitors from around the world. So the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act will help New York create thousands of jobs across the state. That's what gets me so excited. This is an opportunity in this post-pandemic world to let people know, get the skills, go into apprenticeship programs, get trained. There's jobs waiting for you to help rebuild this great state after we were knocked down so far, and we're going to come back even stronger, even better than before. And I spent a lot of years in local government as well. So when people talk about the need for the infrastructure that you don't see underground, the water, the sewer connections, the stormwater drainage programs that we can build better resilience in, so I never have to walk the streets of a place like East Elmhurst in Queens and see people's homes flooded and devastated because they just couldn't withstand the amount of water. This is what our opportunity is before us right now, and I'm looking forward to embrace this. We are at an airport. I want to thank again my local partners. Money for airports is critically important. Yes, this is people's first impression when they come to a community. You get off the plane, you walk through, you take a look around, and is this a community that is proud of itself? Is this something that they want to send a message that this is a community that truly matters? And for too long, our upstate airports were overlooked. They didn't have the funding they required. So we'll be receiving our local airport here, $28.6 million for the Albany airport. We'll modernize the runways, we'll reduce noise, and continue new investments right here in this terminal. I also look forward to not just working with President Biden, but his brand new, recently named czar of infrastructure spending. I'll be on speed dial with Mitch Landrieu, former mayor of New Orleans. Someone we're going to develop a very close relationship and to make sure that everyone understands how important this is. So I'm looking forward to going back. If you catch me on the end of the day, I hope to have a big bag of money in my hands, bringing it back for the state of New York, because this is an investment, not just in infrastructure. Infrastructure is a term that a lot of people can't quite get their arms around. This is an investment for New York State families. This means that parents do not have to worry about the safety of the water that comes out of the tap for their babies and children to drink. That when people are in their cars, and I know I have a personal experience at just about every pothole in the state of New York. This affects your image of a community. If the curbs are run down and you're feeling that there's just too many potholes and it's affecting just your overall well-being, we can fix those potholes. This is about quality of life issues. And also, again, broadband, how important it is for our rural and urban areas. We talked about the great digital divide that was absolutely exacerbated by what we went through when kids had to be learning from home and people couldn't apply for jobs because they don't have access to internet or even to apply for school scholarships. I've seen this way too often. But I'm real excited to make one more announcement. We've done the numbers, and as a result of the money we'll be receiving from the President's signing of the bill today, I'll be witnessing this, we anticipate that there'll be no fare hikes for the MTA. So therefore, those of you who are commuters on the MTA and have been anxious about how much this is going to go up, especially in this era of inflation, when it just seems when you're just trying to get your head above water and come out from under a long, dark period of the pandemic, and you might get a little bit more money in your paycheck, that the cost of living, from gasoline to the cost of turkeys in another week and a half, this is really affecting people's ability to just put food on their table. And I'm real excited to say that we will not have to raise the fares or have any service cuts. The service cuts that were planned for 2023-24 are now off the table for MTA commuters. So this is important. So we'll look forward to working with our stakeholders, keep investing, keep spending the money. And with that, I'll take a couple of questions. Again, thank my partners. They'll be willing to stay and take some questions afterward about very specifically how this money will be spent, and Phil can join in to describe this, but I'm not going to keep the President waiting more than a couple minutes. So thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited about this. As Governor of the state of New York, who will preside over the comeback of New York State, the timing could not be better. And again, I'm so grateful for our partners in Washington, starting with President Joe Biden, for making this happen, for millions of New Yorkers who remember this day as the day that we turned the corner, we were able to start rebuilding and making up for decades of lost time when the money should have been there, and Joe Biden and our allies in the Senate and the Congress were able to make it happen for us. So thank you. No questions? I'll go. Any questions? Any quick?
Governor, Mayor Adams has said that he is interested in potentially making changes to the state's bail laws, further reforms. Do you think that that's something that is doable heading into the next session?
You know, I just had a breakfast at the Executive Mansion. First time many of them had been to the members of the Black and Hispanic Puerto Rican caucus. And we had this conversation, and I told them my position is clear and that this was passed by the legislature, and I'll work with the legislature to address this. This is going to be created not just from what a governor says, but also working with the legislature to make sure that their needs, they hear from their constituents just as much as I do, and we'll get it done. We'll work very closely with Eric Adams to make the changes if necessary, and first of all, protect public safety, number one, but ensure that we have a system of true justice for all individuals as well.
One more. Governor, do you believe that an investigation is necessary after the transcript with Governor Cuomo came out, revealing that in the DOH, the governor was telling people in our Department of Health not to communicate with New York City, and that there appears to be a lot of mismanagement there?
Well, this is already under investigation, so if you're talking about another investigation on top of an investigation, I'm not sure what purpose that serves. The Department of Health under my administration knows they're required to be fully transparent. That's why on day one, we released something that had been too elusive for too long, and that was the number of people who died in nursing homes. This is my dictate across our entire administration. Freedom of information requests. Get the backlog taken care of, get the information out there, whatever's entitled to the public. So whether or not there's an actual investigation, they know they're accountable to me now, and I've changed the culture where we're now working very closely to make sure that I have the information I need from them, also CDC, the FDA, and I'll be making some announcements very shortly about how we're making some changes and how we've approached how this pandemic has been dealt with, and I'm excited to make those. So we'll let the current investigations unfold as well. So I appreciate you coming.
Maybe not just an investigation, but you know, if there's another pandemic, we want to make sure that these things won't happen again. So maybe further than an investigation, is your administration going to make a commission or plan for a future pandemic based on what we already saw? It seems like these things could happen again if we were to see another pandemic.
It's not whether or not there's a pandemic. It's who's in charge of the state. That has changed. That's why there'll be a difference.
We got a teach out running for Attorney General.
Everybody should run for what they want to run for. This is America. Thank you very much, everybody. Let me bring up Mayor Kathy Hochul to say a few words about what this means, as well as our County Executive Dan McCoy, and I thank them for their friendship and their partnership, and Phil will answer any questions. Thank you, everybody. Thanks.
So it's great that the governor is going to be in Washington as this historic infrastructure package is passed. We are beyond excited, not only for the city of Albany, but for the entire region. Our ability to invest in infrastructure means jobs. It means that we are sending a message that this is a place that is growing, that this is a place for businesses to come in and invest, and this will be a huge spur in economic development on top of the economic development, the unprecedented amount of investment that we've seen in our city and in our region, over the last decade. And so we're very excited to get this money to work, and I think that that is one of the things that we are so fortunate to have here, the way that the county, under the leadership of our county executive and the city work together, our strategic